Welcome back. Before I start, here's a request. If you're eating something, you may want to keep that away momentarily. Just the obnoxiousness of what we are made to eat, even as we pay for it. These visuals are gory. Look at the visuals on your screen. Let me take you through them. In a shocking and gross incident, a consumer in Gujarat's Jamnagar has claimed that they received a dead frog in their chips packet. That's on your screen. The consumer has claimed that the frog was in fact fried along with the chips. That's a claim made by the consumer. The packet that they claim to be of Balaji chips, according to them, was bought by their child, and half of that packet was consumed. A team of the Food Safety Department did some verifications at the shop where this alleged pack of Balaji wafers was bought, according to the consumer. But details of that finding or whatsoever it was is yet awaited. In fact, we are yet to get a statement from this company as well. But is this an isolated case? Remember, a finger, a centipede found in 2 separate brands of ice creams, a blade in an on-flight meal, rat in a top-notch branded chocolate sauce. All this in a matter of weeks. We're not talking about few years. We're talking about just a matter of few weeks. And a couple in Bengaluru was shocked after receiving a snake in their Xbox controller package from Amazon. The video showed a cobra stuck to the packaging tape and could not get loose. Cobra, a venomous snake, could be seen stuck in the black duct tape with the Amazon Prime written on it. The snake could be seen moving and trying to crawl out. We are yet to get a response on this as well. Let me just introduce my panelists. I'm told we already have callers as well, but let me just introduce my panelists at this point. Professor Sriram Khanna, who's a managing editor for the Consumer Voice magazine. All right, let's just go across to our callers first. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Professor Sriram Khanna, for joining us. Roshan joins us from Mumbai. Roshan, please go ahead. Tell us, what do you have to share?
Good evening, everyone. I just want to know, do these people have any fear in their mind, when serving this low-quality food? And can we ask the authorities to install camera, in all the restaurants or any eateries platform where, people are indulged in serving the food, so that consumers have a right to see how their food is being cooked or prepared?
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Roshan, for joining us. In fact, we'll take this question to our panelist as well. I'm being joined by Srinivasan from Belagavi as well. Mr. Srinivasan, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Actually, I have faced a very horrifying thing, and it is right in front of me. I had ordered something in South India called parupu podi, that is dal ka podi, and it clearly mentions tur dal, chana dal, and other ingredients, but it doesn't mention grated coconuts. Now, when I opened this is from Hyderabad, and it's a very popular thing. When I opened it and put it on the plate, there is white gratings, which I am sure either it is coconut gratings or plastic gratings. I am not sure, so I can't eat it. Neither I can give it to my children to eat. Now, I tried to contact FSSAI, and they are saying we are a government agency. We cannot do the testing whether it is plastic or coconut. Now, whom to go? Now, if I just because I have to be sure before I make a complaint that it is actually plastic or it is coconut. Now, there is nothing in India where they say they are a government agency. We can't do anything. You just write a letter. We will take the matter up with the maker of it. The maker already, when they go there, he will remove the stuff and he'll keep quiet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Such a huge concern here. Ingredients don't specify what it is, and yet we don't know. And extremely difficult to get to where should one represent this. I'm also being joined by Mr. Ajay, who calls us from Gurgaon. Mr. Ajay, please share what do you have to say.
Okay. My concern was the heat, which is when I was watching the TV, your TV channel was covering the heat effects in various cities. NCR, the high temperatures and people are suffering from it. What I wanted to tell you is the real cause behind all these problems with the environment and our climate and everything is a thing called pollution. Until we eliminate pollution, we are not going to eliminate all this.
I understand, Mr. Ajay. I thank you very much for your concern. We deeply share that as well, and that's why we focus on it as much as we can. Thank you very much. But returning to the issue that we are really discussing at this point, Captain Jagpal joins us from Rohtak. Please go ahead, sir.
You see, these three events have told us that you can get a shock of your life when you order a food. And you should be prepared to go to the consumer court to make them pay for it. There they should be delicensed. All these three gentlemen should be suitably compensated to the tune of 15 and 20 lakhs from these firms. Now your psychology would be, moment you see a box, I should take some precautions. I should open it from with a long handle and then see if there is no, because reptiles, whether it is your shoes, any covered area, they will get in. So you look at the man who ordered ice cream.
Right.
He said, I was almost going to eat and swallow the finger, thinking it is one of the finest nuts. That kind of a shock when given to a human being, it lasts for the rest of the life. So
right.
If you can be taken from you,
right.
all three people should be made
right.
to pay through their nose. And all those who attend this show, please be very cautious and to order your food. Thank you.
Right. In fact, we're also getting more callers, but Professor Sriram Khanna has been very patiently waiting with us. So let me take a question to you first, Mr. Professor Sriram Khanna, before we move on to more callers. And this would give a sense, these callers are so important because they are consumers. They are the viewers. They are the people who are paying their money to buy anything from an ice cream to a sauce to a packet of chips. Now, my question to you is, how are these to be seen, these instances? Are they supposed to be seen as freak, rare cases, that seem to be just happening one after the other? Or is there something deeply worrying in what's being reported?
See, there are two sides to the story. Let me assure you, if you are putting this question to the Minister of Health, under whom the Food Safety Authority functions, he will tell you in writing that they are not aware of these cases mentioned on your channel. The reason for that is none of these people have actually lodged a complaint with the food safety officer in writing in their district. In every district of India, there is a food safety officer under the state government who is supposed to comply with food safety standards set up under the Food Safety and Standards Authority sitting in New Delhi. Now, if that gentleman has not been informed in writing that this has happened, then you ask the government of India, they'll say, ye to hua hi nahi hai. So when you are saying, are these rare instances? I will say they are not rare instances, but the rare is the consumer who actually spends half an hour to write down his complaint, find out the email ID or the postal address of the food safety officer of his district, and then seal the sample that he has got and preserve it and ask him to come and pick up the sample. And if he doesn't come, he should complain and say, why you have not come to take the sample? And put it on record. None of these people have done that, and I would say 1 in a lakh will do that. And we must make sure that these things are logged.
It's extremely difficult as well, sir. I mean, let's face it.
If they are logged, they are not going to be heard.
That first complaint that you would write is also something that that first letter or the first email or the first complaint that you would actually write would have to be just the first of the series of efforts or steps that one has to take eventually to see this entire matter reach some conclusive end, isn't it? Such combustive is the entire
I
process.
agree with you because because the because the inertia in the government agency is institutionalized. They do not respond in a timely and fast manner. So you have to follow up with them. Sometimes they will disagree with you and
Okay.
say there's nothing here. You're just trying to blackmail the company into giving money to you. This is the normal reply they give. Many people have complained,
Right.
but
Mr.
therefore,
Sriram
then
Khanna,
gentleman has just
allow me to
suggested
just
you should go to consumer court.
interrupt you in between. We have a couple of callers waiting, sir. Just give us a few minutes. We'll just quickly go to them as well before we return to you again. Manohar, Mr. Manohar joins us from Delhi. Mr. Manohar, please go ahead. You've heard what our expert on the panel, Mr. Khanna, is speaking. Go ahead, share what you want to, sir.
The problem is the eateries, they don't follow the food safety norms. And there's no check what they are using and what there is absolutely our food safety is sleeping like the Kumbhakaran. They don't bother. I bought one snacks from Haldiram. With that, they gave me some chutney, sweet chutney. It was, hello? What
Yes,
happened?
sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Mr. Manohar. We
And
can hear you.
when I used, I saw a fly inside. I told them, what is this? Kada, we are not giving you this. We are not supplied. Show me the bill. Who keeps the bill? I took that to home
Right.
and found it there. That is the problem. Our food safety people are not
Right.
doing any random check at all. That's the problem.
Right.
And we cannot go to consumer court and all
I'm sure
this.
there
Who
may
are
be
the
many who would actually share your concern at this point. I mean, finding a fly or a hair in your food is possibly the least that people would even find objectionable in many parts. You know, that's really the irony of what we are discussing as well, Mr. Manohar. Thank you very much. Some very, very valid concerns being raised. Thank you, Mr. Manohar. I'm also being joined by Mr. Jaideep Shetty from Coimbatore. Please, sir, please do share what you want to, sir.
Good evening, madam, and good evening to the panel members and all the viewers. See, I will emphasize on the Food and Adulteration Act should be very strict in India, which is not. I can't see anywhere it is very applied. So it should be very systematic, and government should focus on that mainly. And all this, see, finding a nail or finger or centipede, it is not acceptable. Strict and stringent action should be taken against these companies. Money is not the solution. Giving money to the this one is not the solution. Okay, there should be strict Food and Adulteration
Right.
Act. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Jaideep Shetty sir, thank you very much. In fact, Mr. Khanna, let me just come to you. We have more callers, but both these callers have raised a very important point. They've called the food safety body Kumbhakaran. Another person has said that these laws exist, they are not implemented. How would you look at this, Mr. Khanna? Is it, I mean, you suddenly hear of food safety raids and you have this and that happening when something comes out in the open, but how much of this is a reality, these raids or these checks that are supposed to happen? Does this even happen?
I must tell you that when the Food Safety and Standards Act was brought in 2006, replacing the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, which is from the 1950s. Earlier, any adulterated item was caught, the minimum punishment was 6 months in jail. Under the present law, there is no compulsory jail term as minimum punishment. And people can get away with paying fines. And let me also say that in India, bhai bin preet na koi. If the person doesn't fear you, he's not going to comply with your rules. So nobody fears food safety standards in India. There is a food safety authority sitting in New Delhi. Under the law of the parliament, they are supposed to implement. They have a number of regulations. They do a lot of hard work, these people sitting in Delhi. But this doesn't really
Right.
translate into the work being done in the field. There are thousands of food businesses selling different types of food, manufacturing food, processing food, packing food, serving food, selling food through distributors, through retailers, through restaurants, through dhabas and whatever you have and hotels. But at the place where the food is
Right.
prepared or packed and sold, there is no regular compliance. And they have a law which is hardly being implemented. For example, whatever things have been mentioned by the people on your program today, whether it is the finger or the centipede or the frog, these are violations of the regulations. And there is a punishment there. But no complaint was made, no action was taken. That is how it is. My point is that it is
Right.
also not
Thank you,
possible
Mr.
for
Khanna. In
one
fact, please hold on.
food safety officer in a district to go to thousands of units. Can I
Fair
continue?
point. Absolutely fair point. You're absolutely right. These complainants, in fact, all of these would only act as eyes and nose. Nose also, because all of this is also in food, and I'm sure a rat being found in a sauce bottle is going to be extremely smelly. So nose also, they can be the eyes and the nose of the food safety officials if they have to. But how much of that would really again translate into action? Mr. Khanna, please give us a few more minutes. We have two more callers waiting. Miss Asha from Mumbai joins us. Miss Asha, please go ahead. Please do share.
Yes, first of all, I want to congratulate you for continuing the endeavor of Mirror Now for years. Thank you. Secondly, let me come to it. Are we getting clean water? Is sewage in water? What is happening in the natural, in nature? Even the water that comes from underground, what is it that goes in? Tell me what are the MSMEs doing? Tell me what the hawkers are giving money. It's not only the government. The government has ceased to observe. I'm attached to a hotel industry. We have quality control. We have testers. We check every single thing. Even in airlines, you'll find bits of glass. You'll find bits of feathers. Where are you going to stop? Because there is no rule of law in this country. We are just going, and the people who are concerned don't care. Because if their own children had ate it, they would scream and shout. And I want to talk about the press. When this comes out in the press, very rarely, it should be suo moto. Straight away, there should be an FIR. Like Mr. Khanna says, they should be put into jail, close the shop. If it is Hershey's, which has come from abroad, close the factory. Are you doing it? Because very rarely, like you, the TV channels are coming out with this. I'm sorry. Take action.
Right. Asha ma'am, thank you very much for joining us, and deeply appreciate and want to show our gratitude for watching Mirror Now very regularly, as I can make out from how you have appreciated the channel. Thank you very much. We really value our viewers and we take your feedback very seriously, whether it is negative or positive. Thank you, Ms. Asha, for joining us with that. I'm also being joined by Mr. Charles from Bengaluru. Please go ahead, sir.
Good evening, madam. I am Charles from Bangalore city. My first remark is that Indian standard is not respecting the food, not respecting the customers. They are not worried about the safety and security of the citizens or the customers. There is always unethical practice in every business to some extent. And hotels are unfortunately having the large ethical practice. And they don't worry about the customers. They are worried only about the profit. It is the sheer negligence on the part of the people who are maintaining the hotel, who is cooking, and they are not even worried about the surrounding. If you enter any kitchen in any hotel, you will see very bad environment somewhere inside, where you even the reptiles will be unable to live. They won't like to go to that place. Maybe
Right.
they'll go to a better place. That is the situation. Therefore,
Right.
the people who are preparing the food, they are responsible, they are accountable, and they don't have any morality. They want money, and they serve the food
Certainly.
to the children, to the adults, and they bring the old food, old items, the spoiled one. They mix everything and keep. And mostly, and we
Right.
see food poisoning taking place because of the reptiles. You see the cockroaches, you see the lizard, you see the snakes entering, and people mixing that.
True.
Fingers, either nose, or maybe they are bringing some
Right. In fact,
missing
Mr.
filling
Charles,
and serving them in the city. So this is the practice where we have to find
right.
out.
In fact,
the
Mr.
police
Charles, let me just go
department, the
across
law
to my
should take-
panelists to take your question and your concern directly to them. Very valid, very important concerns by you. And I'm sure much of India would share these concerns. Thank you, Mr. Charles, for joining us with that. Professor Sriram Khanna, to, put these questions together, these concerns together, and put the question before you. There were two parts to this. That can't there be a suo moto case? Now, in the beginning, when you addressed this issue, you said if you write to the health ministry or if you write to a government right now, they'll say they don't know about this case. But frankly, in a country like India, where you have a very active, vigilant media, so to say, if at all instances like this do come, and whenever they do come out, why can't a suo moto case be filed? Or why can't this be taken up suo moto? Like, for example, if you have somebody in Jamnagar where this incident happened of a rat in a chips packet, they went to the local and they gave a complaint. Now, beyond this, what really can they do? But can't they, in such cases where at least it's coming out in public, won't there be a suo moto case that would be taken up?
See, what you are saying is that when something happens, action should be taken. I agree with you. But it's such a huge country. There are 550, 25, more than 525 districts. And there are thousands and thousands of food business operators. And there is one district food safety officer. His capacity is limited. Even the state governments do not have enough staff to do all this. But they have a rule book which they can implement. For example, the Food Safety and Standards Authority has created rules for food safety audit. That food safety audit is based on the international requirements on good manufacturing practices and good hygienic practices, GMP and GHP. And they have prescribed that food businesses should have food safety audits periodically. And these need not be done by the food government officials. There are accreditation agencies who can do these food quality audits. But they are not enough. They are not properly distributed. Not enough audits are being done. Not enough companies are covered. And the job of the Food Safety Authority in Delhi and the Ministry of Health is to ensure that every food safety business has this audit conducted at least once in a year. In high-risk businesses, at least twice in a year. Is that happening? No. So I would say, instead of saying that every case should be individually investigated, we need to improve the system at the systemic level. And the rules are there, only, as somebody said, they are not being
Professor
implemented.
Khanna,
and I would
very
advocate
quickly, let me ask you one
that
more
the new
question.
Minister of Health...
And I'm sure one thing that many
Yes.
viewers also keep asking all the time is to compare, if instances like this are coming up in India, what is it abroad? And I don't have much time left, but if you could give us a sense of that. In the European countries and the West, how would instances like this be looked at or dealt with?
See, these incidents do not happen because they have a well-grounded or matured culture within the food industry of ensuring that good manufacturing practices are followed, good hygienic practices are followed, and if something happens, they go out of their way to take corrective action and remove the reasons. And if they are exposed, the market hits back at them and they lose their business and lose money. In our country, when somebody gets caught, he'll say, "Oh no, ये तो एक ही बार हुआ है sir, मैं तो 20 साल से काम कर रहा हूँ." And that he says, I don't know how it happened, but I won't let it happen again. And he gets scot-free. And everybody gets scot-free. Therefore, you have to change the institutional system. And therefore, towards the end of what I'm saying here is, there's a new Minister of Health who has taken over. Please find out who he is. I read in the newspaper, he's a gentleman called Mr. Nadda, who was heading the BJP during the election. If he is the health minister or if somebody else is there, he has to answer in parliament this week when the parliament reopens. Is he going to institute food safety audit in all the food businesses so that every food business, irrespective of size, has at least one food safety audit being conducted by an independent agency once in a year, and where large number of consumers are involved and there is high risk business like meat, like
So are you
milk
saying,
products,
okay, we're
like
totally out
mithai,
of time,
it
but
should
very
be more
quickly,
than,
are you saying
twice a
food
year.
audit does not happen in India otherwise? Random food audit?
It's supposed to happen, but it doesn't happen. It does not happen as frequently as it should. If it is supposed to be happening once in 3 years, what's the point? It should
All
be
right.
at least once in a year or 2 or 3 times in a year, depending on the size of the business and the food risk, the nature of food. For example, meat products, there is more risk of
Right.
contamination.
Right.
On milk products, there is more risk of contamination. In heat, there is more risk of contamination. So there's a high risk business and there is low risk business. And the risk changes as the seasons change from winter to
Right,
summer.
absolutely, sir.
and
We're
monsoon.
totally out of
So
time.
it is the job of the health minister. You should be asking the health minister to answer in parliament, not before the television. Tell the MPs what his ministry and the Food Safety Authority has done. Unless you hold the ministers responsible, nothing
Right.
is going to happen. By your making complaint, one making complaint. You have voted
Right.
for a minister. It's his job. If he
Right.
doesn't do the job, let him go and resign. That's what I'm saying. I'm very angry at the minister. I'm not
All
angry
right,
at the
thank you
Food Safety
very much,
Authority.
Professor
The Food
Sriram
Safety
Khanna.
Authority
We
is
do
supposed to be
hope
accountable
definitely
by
that
the minister.
the newly appointed minister would be hearing you, and I'm sure they would be hearing their voters, the electorate, the callers who have called and spoken as well, and there would be I mean, there is definitely, as you see the concerns emerging, the calls that have come in, this is no reason for not being the priority of Modi government 3.0. Thank you very much, Professor Sriram Khanna, for joining us. And thank you, dear viewers, for calling in and sharing your concerns. Mirror Now always keeps you first. Well, that's all we have for you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us.